ESPN fires Stephen A. Smith for making divisive comments regarding Caitlin Clark. I understand that the title may shock you, but Stephen A. was fired for talking trash about Caitlin, and nobody saw that coming. After all, we've all seen him disparage every basketball player who crosses the line and despises Caitlin Clark, from Cheryl Swoops to Angel Ree, particularly when Angel began her Trash Talk World Tour.
But Stephen A. Smith now is taking it to another level.
We are in the press and know what actually happened and what is embellished. So let's find out what Stephen means when he claims that Caitlin and her admirers were overreacting to things like Caitlin getting poked in the eye and body smashes. Exaggeration. Exaggeration.
Now, stories were exaggerated, stories were embellished.
Thus, Stephen A. Smith, the king of fiery opinions, who has been essentially ESPN's loudspeaker for the past many years and whose yelling makes your TV vibrate, chose to mock. The guy who is Caitlin Clark didn't just cross the line. He ran across it, jumped over it, and set everything on fire. Yes, my man was fabricating stories about what actually happened on the court, but no one is here for made-up nonsense. He even admitted to it, which is a fancy way of saying that he lied, but alright, people made up stories about Caitlin's encounters with other players like Angel Reese and Jai Carrington and try to pass them off as fact.
Knocking her into the ground, start trying to accuse Carrington of poking her.
Remember when Jai Carrington poked Caitlin Clark in the eye during a playoff game? It wasn't subtle. It appeared to be as deliberate as a nasty breakup text, but the WNBA was telling everyone it was an accident. We have video proof, man, and nobody was buying that. Caitlin's fans in particular saw the poke for what it was, a downright dirty move meant to mess with Caitlin. However, Stephen A. tried to make it seem like it was a complete coincidence. Come on, Stephen. We weren't born yesterday.
And after she caught that fingertip in the eye or right around it from...
And then there was the notorious Angel Reese moment, where Angel essentially bullied Caitlin on the court and Stephen A. attempted to dismiss it as just another basketball game. What basketball are you watching, man? That wasn't a foul. It was a full-on body check. You would think Caitlin was playing in the NFL the way Angel attacked her, but nope, Stephen A. is like, hey, no big deal. Except yeah, it was a big deal. Everyone saw it, except Stephen A., who seemed preoccupied with weaving his little web of false stories. The WNBA was essentially attempting to minimize the fact that Caitlin was being singled out both on and off the court. It seemed as though he was interfering for the players pursuing her while making Caitlin appear to be exaggerating or being theatrical, spoiler alert, when she wasn't.
Found Seattle, and all of a sudden, we're pretty close. This has been as close as it's been all second quarter long, 44.
And the basketball community, believe me, wasn't going to overlook that. When the WNBA and individuals like Sue Bird began to twist the story to make it seem like none of this mattered, people were rightfully incensed. ESPN finally had to draw a line somewhere, and that line was not just amusing, it was harmful. Caitlin Clark is a star and a true legend, and the way she was being treated was completely messed up.
Well, Stephen A. Smith is a race baiter. That's all Stephen A. Smith has. He has nothing else. He has shown that he knows nothing about basketball by being on the NBA countdown. Absolutely no personality for a real show.
Smith didn't merely make a few thoughtless comments during a timeout, as if he was trying to fill the silence. No, this man really went above and beyond with his embellishments, and don't get it wrong. We're talking about calculated, purposeful moves here, not small gaffes or casual idiots. For Caitlin Clark in particular, his outrageous stories weren't just loud. They were dangerous and painted her in a completely different and negative light. Let's be clear, this wasn't about Caitlin's actual skills on the court or any real drama. Rather, it was about making her appear to be the issue, while the players who were actually pursuing her got off scot-free talk about flipping the script. Stephen A. knew exactly what he was doing, and the consequences were real.
Ain't nobody go for a ball like this and then their hand go down like this. You go to block the ball, you would think she would do this or to poke it out like this. How are you going to go for the ball like this and then have your hand come down and hit her right in the eye?
Additionally, consider the well-known eye poke incident. If you're a fan of Caitlin Clark, you're aware that it's ingrained in your memory. That wasn't a simple, oops, my bad hand slip. No. During a 2024 WNBA playoff game, Jonai Carrington chose to go full Mortal Kombat on Caitlyn's eyeball. This wasn't subtle, it was as obvious as it gets. Caitlyn almost lost her sight, which affected her entire game for the remainder of the season. Her performance was ruined, but what did the WNBA and ESPN do? They walked in and dismissed the incident, saying that Caitlyn was overreacting. Really, dude, you're going to sit there and pretend that a woman who just had her eye poked into oblivion is overreacting? It wasn't a minor poke, it was practically an assault. But no, they had to make it seem like Caitlyn was being dramatic.
And for everybody who talked about, she's just a shooter, she's already set the all-time rookie assist record. For somebody who's the greatest scorer in college basketball history, and she is an incredible... See, I think that was lost on a lot of people. Her ability to be able to find the open person. It's something that you're born with.
Let's actually talk about the fallout from that. Caitlyn went from dominating the 2024 season, averaging 30.8 points per game, to barely scoring 18.5, and the reason for that is that her vision was impaired, making it impossible for her to shoot straight. This was blatant character assassination, plain and simple. And then we get to Angel Reese. Yes, the takedown heard round the world June 12th, 2024, Game 3 of the WNBA semifinals, where Caitlyn's Iowa Hawkeyes are playing Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. The tension was high, and then, like she's trying out for the WWE, Angel suddenly comes flying out of nowhere and slams Caitlyn to the ground.
Drives baseline, and shot rejected by Izzy McMagor. Second opportunity is up and in by Nalissa Smith. Very entertaining first half about Seattle, and all of a sudden, we're pretty close. This has been as close as it's been all second quarter long.
This wasn't your typical hard foul. Rather, it was a statement. It seemed as though Angel was trying to convey that, yes, I'm here to literally knock you out because, as you are aware, being body slammed into hardwood hurts. But what do? They say it's just a part of the game. This was really cruel, and the reason for it was jealousy because Caitlyn plays better than you, Angel, and because people watch the game for her.
But I think Angel Reese is jealous of Caitlin Clark. She thinks she's, the reason why this is all happening here. Caitlin Clark was going to get eyeballs whether she played against Angel Reese in LSU or not.
The man went full conspiracy theorist and created this entire alternate reality where Caitlyn and her fans were suddenly the villains in some racial drama. Can you even believe the audacity of this? He didn't just roast Caitlin Clark's game. He took it to a whole new level of wild. Instead of concentrating on the real problems facing the WNBA, Stephen A. believed that it was the ideal moment to stir things up by asserting that Caitlyn's fanbase was concealing a sinister racist agenda. Naturally, people jumped on it like it was the newest trend, without stopping to consider the wider picture.
In my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly.
Let's go back to Hawks versus Mystics on May 24th, 2024. Alyssa Thomas was going into full trash talk mode after every single play, practically living in Caitlyn's face. It wasn't subtle either. Cameras captured her mouthing off at Caitlyn all night long, obviously trying to get inside her head. When Caitlyn's fans called her out for it online, it was turned into this whole racial controversy, acting as though people were attacking Thomas for what she did rather than who she was. It's as if they forgot that Thomas was a part of a broader trend of players vying for Caitlyn.
But Stephen A. Smith is given this massive platform, and he chooses to use it as a race baiter. And when white people and black people stay silent, can't communicate.
Yes, you heard correctly. Instead of confronting the reality that Caitlyn was being bullied on the court, Stephen A. felt it was appropriate to accuse her fans of racism. He claimed that it was no longer about basketball but rather race, and he changed the entire narrative from our players unfairly targeting Caitlyn to his claim that racism was the foundation of Caitlyn's success. I mean, where did this come from? But Stephen A. wasn't finished. He continued to push this narrative on repeat as though it were some revolutionary revelation, and people were enthralled.
The Indiana Fever, nobody cared about it.
Instead of concentrating on the incredible talent Caitlyn brought to the game, Everyone became enmeshed in the racial drama Stephen A. created, and Caitlin's story is now tangled rather than remembered solely for what she did on the court. In the end, Stephen A. not only ruined Caitlin's story, he ruined the entire WNBA narrative by diverting the conversation away from the actual fouls and targeting and making it about race. The true tragedy is that a Stephen was made up in the chaos.